Hello everybody, Accureye here, and welcome back to another Accureye Talks video. So, in today's video, I thought we'd talk about, practice, and at least the importance of practice when it comes to being a competitive player or whatever. When it comes down to it, let's face it, practice is the key to becoming at least a somewhat good competitive player, or even a great competitive player, because, without practice, a lot of times we run into players who pretty much don't know what they're doing, or 9 out of 10 times they will pretty much just end up doing the same Mario trucking one trick pony combo to win, which will either involve anti-airing at the start, or basically, try and do one move at the same time over and over again. And, at the end of the day, let's face it, that is something that, is a potential possibility. But for those of you who are starting your competitive journey, or maybe just starting to be a competitive player, you may be asking me, Accureye, how the heck do I become better? I've seen so many pro players who are playing with arcade sticks, and, I think maybe that's the way to go. And, yeah, many pro players, many competitive players, including me, as of recently, have started, do use arcade sticks. And we, of course, use arcade sticks as a way to, because of the fact that it's familiar to us. And, it's always good to have familiarity when it comes down to, just knowing, or at least, just being able to, control, or, be able to create a flow of motion. Now, arcade sticks aren't really the so-called quote-unquote, best method sometimes, especially for some players. You'll see that, arcade sticks are great for precise or precision, because, when it comes to the arcade stick, that you're going to hit the buttons. Like, no matter what you're doing, you pretty much are going to hit the buttons. That no matter what, the buttons are going to be there to help you, or you're going to have, a good bit of control to learn how to combo up and learn how to, continue to change, or create a flow of motion. Of course, there are some players who like using controllers, and there's nothing wrong with a controller if it's a good controller, like the Fight Commander. The Fighting Commander, which was made by Hori. I know Mad Catz did also make one at some point in time, but I don't know whatever happened to it, Mad Catz version, and I know that Mad Catz has kind of started has restarted after falling for a while as a controller company. But but how's the best way to practice, you may ask me? You could practice online, but online doesn't really give you much chance to explore your options, nor does online actually give you a chance to find who your best character is. Whether it's someone like Sakura, someone like Juri, someone like Cammy, someone like Urien, Kaji, Akuma, Ryu, Ken, Bison, Sagat, Vega. Online doesn't give you the possibility to explore your options and see if you're really good with that character. In a way, online is kind of the proving ground. So, obviously, online isn't always the best practice method. That is something that I will admit to, is that, at the end of the day, online, at the end of the day, as it is just not always the best way to, do things. While it may be a good way to test your skill and prove that you really do have what it takes, in one way or another. As it is, online can't really compensate for the potential possibility of you being able to prove that, or you getting good practice. Well, some people may think that online mode will give them good practice and is a great way to help them win or get better. It doesn't really. It's only a true test of skill. In many ways, as like you can see here, this is someone who pretty much doesn't practice at all. I mean, they've not been practicing at all. Like I'm sure all their fighting has come from the factor that they only do online to try and win, or at least get some get the rank, and that's mostly what many people do, is they go immediately into online thinking, oh well, I'm going to get practice and I'm also going to learn these characters and get rank. But again, for many of you who are new and just starting your journey, I would never recommend you start immediately online, because again, you have a lot to learn, and if you want to learn a character, whether it's like Sakura, Armika, Bison, anyone like I mentioned before, then obviously there is going to be one discrepant difference to you as a player compared to someone who is a higher rank. And a lot of times the discrepancy is the fact that they have practice, they know their characters, they know all the cancels, all the movesets and whatever, and and it's more ending being a testing of skill over an actual practice. I mean, when it comes down to, once you know your characters, you know the flow motion, you know exactly everything you need to know, translating it to online is not going to be that difficult. Especially to translate your character based on the way that your opponent is, So, yeah. So, it's one of the main reasons why I always suggest, for those of you who are kind of considering the factor of, I don't need to practice online, I'll get all my or I don't need to practice in offline or single player, I'll get all my practice and whatnot online. I mean, that's not always the case, everybody. At the end of the day, let's face it, that's not always the case. It is sometimes just a case of, it's better to, of course, just, be able to, pick up just going online or going offline. Pick up on single player. Practice offline so that you can learn everything you need to learn about the character and everything, because as you practice online, let's face it, at the end of the day, you will learn more and you will be more confident in online than you would be in offline. I mean, 9 out of 10 times, more people are more confident offline than they are online. Or at least they'll become more confident offline over just playing online. Because if you're just like focusing on gaining rank and testing your skill, online is the way to go. But if you're really trying to get practice and learn your character, learn your moves and whatever, offline or online is not really the place to do it. In many ways, online is pretty much the place where you finally get to test your skill. You finally get to prove in a way that you have what it takes to be the next, the next big threat in a way. The next big, person on the run. I mean, and while easy combo is always the way to make a good start and to make a decent startup, honestly, at the end of the day, let's face it, you're not going to learn much just by playing online. So it's one of the main reasons I suggest, like, as a player, you get to know your character and you learn your character offline, where you can kind of become better with him or her, depending on who it is. So yeah, and those are my suggestions to those of you, and the reason why practice is just so important in fighting games. I mean, in games like Call of Duty, Black Ops, unfortunately, there's no real offline to practice and get used to your weapons and your skills or whatever. I mean, it's kind of like you're hairpinning it. You're basically, just doing it right off the overall run of things. And, pretty much that's just it, at the end of the day. But, I mean, that's pretty much why practice is so important, and it's always good to practice offline before you go online. Personally, I would recommend you find a character that you want to play as, and make that your main character. After you make that your main character, I would recommend that you, of course, end up, taking on taking it online. Once you've mastered the character that you want to be, like, let's just say this is basically who you're going to choose for tournaments or whatever, then I would recommend at that point, then you go online and you try to climb the ranks. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, that will allow you to open many doors, and in the case of things, not really care about winning or losing. And if you do gain more rank, you gain more rank, and that's the way it goes. You know what I mean? So, yeah, with that being said, that's one of the main reasons I'd recommend for anyone to, do most of your practice offline. Make your practice sessions offline. Get to know your characters, who you want to use, who you want to be.
Round one.
And with that being said, it will make the losing screen and the winning screen a lot more or less, like, it'll make the losing screen less satisfying, and it'll make the winning screen more satisfying in a way. And that just comes from in my opinion, this is just from an old competitor, because I used to do local competitive tournaments back in the day for fighting games. And, most of my practice came offline before I even went online. And when I finally did go into battles or into tournaments and whatever, I was pretty much ready. I was already, at the point where no matter what, if I won, the win screen would be absolutely satisfying and absolutely amazing to see. But if I lost, well, the losing screen wouldn't be that less satisfying, and it would be alright. I would be alright with it, you know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, that's one of the main reasons as a practice. If you have the offline capability, or in this case, or in some cases, the single player opportunity, I would highly recommend you start with the single player opportunity and work your way to rise the ranks. Get to know your character, whoever they are in any fighting game. Get to know them in single player, and then once you know them, once you're prepared, once you feel like you finally got to that point where you're ready to go online and just climb the ranks. Show them that you can rise the ranks. But with that being said, if you did like this video, you know what to do. Hit that like button, get subscribed, hit that bell notification, because I know you want to know when my next video drops next. Thank you everybody for joining me on this video. I am live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. I am live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I am planning to make a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Saturday, and potentially Sunday stream going forward. I'm not sure how that'll work yet. Monday, Tuesday, and Sunday will be 2 to 3 hour streams most likely, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday will be 4 to 5 hour streams. But with that being said, thank you everyone for joining me on this video, and until the next one, this is Accureye signing out and saying farewell, everyone.